every day literally is a gift from God.
Yep.
Every moment that I'm here free to do whatever I want. And where am I taking that? Like, what am I doing with that time? Am I spending enough time with my kids? Or am I just doing things, work or working around the house or, doing odd end jobs or doing things that, it's not that I want to be procrastinating or lazy, but it's like, I would much rather connect with my kids and my wife and be close to them than just, kill myself working. You're listening to the Everyday Christian Podcast,
where we apply scriptural principles to everyday Christian lives. I'm Sean Sloggett.
And I'm John Rich, and today we are going to wing it, Brother Sean, and we are going to do a day in the life of the Everyday Christian Podcast. We've done kind of a similar, we're really kicked back here. Seriously, look at my legs, all right? Don't look at my legs, look at my feet. Because I don't think you can see my legs over this.
Don't lust.
Oh, I don't think there's nothing to lust over. Don't worry. I don't think you can see my legs over this computer. So anyway, this is sort of a off the chain, Uncharted style podcast. We typically have a podcast topic every time that we discuss or have an episode. We don't have that here. We've done this once before. I think Brother Sean and I, it seemed to go well. We just want to do it here and just kind of shoot the breeze, talk about different things. We can literally talk about anything in this episode. So just stay tuned and prepare. If you're watching it on video, you can see we're kicked back. Sean's got his cool recliner. I called it a couch earlier because it's a really big recliner. And just chilling. If you do hear air conditioners, we've got a couple of air conditioners on. It looks like we're in my grandma's basement. We are not in grandma's basement. We are in my office. So I don't know if that's a compliment. It's in my grandma or a badge to my office, but anyway.
It's currently 100 degrees with a real feel of 105. So that's why we have air conditioners.
So we've got these cool, we've got fans. Sean has an air conditioner behind him. I've got this cool little fan with the neat, so you'll see that, trying to keep myself cool here. But we want to thank everybody who's listened to us, supported us, been there for us, prayed for us, talked with us. We want to thank all those who have joined our virtual class. You've got the signs up here. If you're a teen struggling to find answers in the Bible, if you're trying to figure things out about God for yourself or trying to figure out how to study the Word of God for yourself, I want to introduce you to that class. We do it right now. I think we're doing it once every 3 weeks. We're trying to do another one by next Monday, which by the time you listen to this, it'll probably be tonight that we're doing it. So you'll have to get in on the next one. But if you ever want to be a part of that or want to learn about those kind of things, I think we're going to discuss homosexuality in detail, how to deal with people who are homosexual in the next class. So it'll be really interesting, Sean. I don't call you Brother Sean because we're Uncharted, man. We're not professional in this.
I always get called Brother Sean. It's throwing me for a loop now. Like Brother Jonathan said, I'm going to rebuke him for this by calling him brother all throughout the episode now. This is something, we are just kind of winging it right now, or for this episode, mainly because, and I'm not trying to throw him under the bus here, but Brother John has had a lot on his plate these last several weeks, trying to get set up for conferences and golf tournaments. And he's had a whole list of things going on. And I was gone to it was a camp meeting, but I took me and my wife and another couple, took a group up to the mountains of New Mexico for a meeting. So there was just a lot happened these last several weeks. So forgive us if this episode is not for you. Move on. We'll get some more content going. The virtual classes for sure is a good thing. I have listened in on some of them. I'm not actively participating in any of the teaching right now. Just so, we've discussed certain things on it and we felt like it may be best to do it that way. I may join in on some of them I may try to teach some of them, but it's a great class to listen to if you're needing any questions or if you have questions. You are welcome to send them to us by messenger.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, and we can try and answer them or do a lesson on them if we feel that that's necessary.
So we're going to start this episode with your best clean joke.
You can't hit me with that right now.
Because I said the word clean, or I'm just kidding.
No, because I can't think of one off the cuff like that.
I know. That's just how it is. You had said something about it before. I thought maybe you were thinking about it, but it's fine. Oh, you got one? See, you can hit it off the cuff like that.
I heard this one today. It's a total Bible dad joke.
It's a dandy, as they call it.
Why was Joshua, or why was Ruth afraid of Joshua?
Why?
Because Joshua judges Ruth.
Oh, yes.
Complete dad joke.
That's the one. Yep. I like that one. I always go back to my this is not really biblical, but
points to me.
I mean, I have a couple biblical ones. Don't get me wrong. I'm trying to think of ones that are funny that everyone would enjoy.
He's trying to think of a clean joke now because I threw a biblical one out.
Well, no, all the ones that I can think of are like really cheesy and dad jokes,
Like that one wasn't?
Well, I'm saying though, yes. So you set the tone there, but I was trying to go opposite dad joke and do something else, but all I can think about are dad jokes, probably because I'm a dad. I don't know. I had one that was like, what has 4 legs, sits outside, and is Irish?
What?
Patio furniture. All right. The look on Sean's face says it all. That was not funny in the slightest. But yeah,
those are the jokes that they're not funny, but they're so stupid you have to laugh at them.
If you get around someone that laughs, those kind of jokes, it helps too. Like, there's certain people that can laugh at a joke, and even though the joke's stupid, not funny, I would never laugh at it. Just their laughing just kills me. I die.
Has everybody? I'm sure most people have seen this video by now, but like the at the Comedy Barn, where that lady started laughing.
I don't think I am. Yeah.
So there's this lady in the crowd at a Comedy Barn, and this guy's like hitting people on the heads and it's like their turn to just kind of move their mouth like they're talking. And this lady starts laughing in the crowd, and they lose control of the entire crowd, everybody on stage and everything. And it just completely shifts to where you see this lady over here laughing hysterically. It's an old video. Well, I'll show you afterwards.
There's people like that I know of that. Yeah, they're hilarious. The other one, the Bible dad joke I was going to tell was, how does Moses like his tea?
He brews it.
There you go. I knew you would know that one. There's some pickup lines too, like if I walk around you 7 times, will you fall for me? Like, that's always a good one. I tell my wife that one every now and then, and she falls in love all over again.
I'm sure she does. Like, did it hurt when you fell from heaven?
Yeah.
Because it looks like you hit every branch on the way down.
Yeah. I like the one where it's like, did it hurt? Okay. All right, hold on. My brain farted, and then I thought about that the second time. I was like, okay, that was good. I always like it though when people tell that joke and they're like, did it hurt when you fell from heaven or whatever? Like, talking about they're an angel, and they're just like, did you just call me the devil? Like, because he was kicked out of heaven. Anyway, so what's going on in your life, Sean? What do you got going on? You've shared a little bit with me, but share with the audience here.
Quite a bit going on right now. I am self-employed, run my own business. Lots of ups and downs when it comes to that, especially in this type of economy. Election years always seem to mess with that kind of stuff, as most people know. Just living life, married with 4 kids. I'm sure a lot of you all know that. We're here in Oklahoma. I've got a Sunday school class that I teach. Not sure why. But me and a good friend of mine we're not really assistant or teacher and assistant anymore. We've kind of blended that at discretion from some others at our church. It was a very great idea. They actually had approached us several years ago, and they approached most classes about it. I don't know if they took it up or not. But they said, most of the time you have a teacher and you have an assistant, and the teacher will teach for 8, 9, 10, 14 weeks, forever. And then when they finally need to go on vacation for a week, they ask the assistant to come in. And our superintendent at the time said, hey, it's here or there, whatever you want to do with it. But something that I think we need to try and do just try it, see how it works is, maybe you take 2 Sundays and you take 2 Sundays, or alternate, or do back to back or whatever. So we tried it, and it actually worked out really well. I'd let the students ask questions if they have questions on my Sunday. We try to study them out and answer them. And then the other Sundays, Brother Ben, the other gentleman guy, loser that helps me, whatever you want to call him, he will actually put a lesson together and teach lessons on certain topics. It seemed to have worked really well. So we're kind of co-teachers now, I guess is the way to put it. Just moving on with life, trying to be successful and be God-fearing, be a good Christian while I'm at it. Struggling with some of it, but we won't say what parts I'm struggling with.
Yeah. I think we all kind of do that. I'm same boat. I mean,
cornhole. Why did I forget cornhole?
Dude,
I got my hat on here.
Of course.
So this is the one I forget. At least I brought up Christ. If I'd have forgot forgot being a Christian, then y'all would have had some real issues.
I had a team meeting the other day, and they were asking me about my life. I say the other day, it's been 4 months ago. I always say that the other day. And it was to a new team. They didn't know me, so they were trying to figure out things about me. And I went through this whole spiel about what I do, who I am, and all that. And then my boss, actually, if you're listening, Jody, hi, how you doing? She said, what about your podcast? And I was like, yeah.
You forgot.
Yeah. No, I also do a podcast, and I kind of explained that, but I went through this whole spiel. Anyway, sorry.
Cornhole. That's funny. You get called out for stuff like that. I was glad
that she called me out, though.
That just proves to show you guys that we're human, just like the rest of you.
Yeah.
Don't glorify Jonathan. You'll fail. He'll mess up, and then you'll be
quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before the night is over. No, so I picked up cornhole. It's probably been about 3 months ago or so now. If any of you people like cornhole, cool. I am actually ranked.
Ooh.
Nationally now. I'm ranked globally.
4,997.
Hold on, I'll pull it up. I'll tell you guys what my global ranking is. You'll be thrilled to know that
what place you're in?
Yes.
People are dying to know this.
Global rankings, I am number 439,645.
Whoa.
So I'm in the top 500,000 people globally.
Ooh,
if anybody wants to know that. There's probably 500,000 that they accept, and I'm right there on them.
Nice.
But no, we play, me and some guys from church and a bunch of others play. But this past Tuesday, the Ultra team, for any of you that know cornhole, Ultras, they make bags and apparel and stuff. But they came to our venue that we play at and visited with us on their way to play one of the ACL tournaments. And we got to play with a bunch of the elite players and one professional player. They were explaining it to me. So to be elite, you have to qualify to go play pro because you don't quite have enough points. I don't understand the whole thing, but if I understood them correctly, elite has to qualify. So they have to garner more points and different things to be able to go play in the pros. And that's what a lot of those guys are doing. But one of the guys that actually came and played with us was ranked or is current. I went and looked him up while they were telling him. Like, there's no way. He's currently ranked number 12 in the world.
Whoa.
This kid is ridiculous. I sat there and watched him play and asked. I got several pointers for him. Was asked him about his throw and stuff. But yeah, currently ranked number 12 in the world. And I got to
That's cool.
throw a little bit with him.
That's cool.
My bags are ultra bags, so they had the hat. And I'm like, I'm definitely getting that.
Yeah. Someday they'll sponsor you.
But it was cool. Out of all the bags that you can buy, I mean, there's brands everywhere. Like a month and a half ago, I picked up ultra bags, and then the guys show up a month and a half later, just passing through on their way to, which they scheduled it with us, but they came and visited us. It was pretty cool to do.
That's awesome. I was going to say, is he on the same ranking that you would be on, or is it yours is just more domestic? Is yours domestic or is yours worldwide?
Mine
ranking.
The 439,000, that's global.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So I am ranked. There you go. I am ranked along with him, but I mean,
I'm within his ranks, but I'm like 400,000 off.
I'm 439,600 and what is that? 23 off from him.
There you go. Well, hey,
I actually looked him up on the app, and so he's from Arizona, and in Arizona he's the number one player in the whole state of Arizona.
Right, he'd have to be.
Yeah, he's a beast.
That's cool. Yeah, lots been going on. We just had our golf tournament. We were supporting Elite to the Rescue, which is a organization. They do a lot of different things. One of the main things they do is rescue sex traffic and kidnap victims. So we were able to raise quite a bit of money for that. There you go. Here's a picture of the guy.
No, go ahead. I was just saying, I went and looked him up real quick. I'm going to interrupt you while you're talking about.
We'll put a picture on.
No, I'm not.
We'll put a picture on the video whenever.
No, we're not. So his rankings on the app. So at the ACL, they have their own rankings that they do. And then there's this app, it's Scoreholio. But in his club, he's ranked number 1. In Arizona, he's ranked number 1. And according to this, he's ranked number 5 globally.
Globally?
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty good.
I mean, he's phenomenal to play.
Anyway, before I was rudely interrupted about my own life, work, youth group, HMA, conference, golf tournament, different ministries there. Lots been going on there. This episode's really off the cuff, so I could end up talking about just about anything. Like one moment we're talking about cornhole, the next moment we'll talk about some deep stuff. So you'll just have to bear with me if the tone sort of changes a little bit on some of these parts, and forgive me for that.
This is going to be so fun.
But I don't know. There's been a lot going on. There's been a lot of different mental battles and struggles I've been going through, and different I don't know, just different things in life. I think everyone's sort of facing, kind of wondering like where. There you go. Kick back a little bit more, Sean.
Hey, if you're going to do it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
My feet are going to end up in his camera, though.
Kind of wondering. No, they're not there. Wait, are they? Move your feet. No, they're good. There you go. Just like wondering, like with everything going on, like how the world's going to be in another 4 years, and it is election year.
Another 6 months.
Yeah, right. Another 2 weeks. Seems like there's always different things going on and different changes, and I don't know, just trying to like figure out what I'm raising my children in. Not really sure what the future holds for them. Some of that scares me, if I'm honest. Some of that puts fear in me just because, you want what's best for them, but you don't really, other people don't have good intentions for them like you do. And so just like figuring out how it's going to be in 10 years when they are adults mainly. I mean, I think my youngest will be 15, so she won't be quite an adult, but the other two will be like 17 and 18. So I think 17 and 20 in 10 years. So there's a lot there.
I have an 18-year-old.
Yeah. So there's a lot. I don't know. There's a lot to think about. Do you ever think about, I always think about this stuff in the middle of the night and I hate it because it always keeps me up. But do you ever think about when you lay down, did I really give my best to my children? And I hate that thought because I've had that thought a lot the last couple weeks, just with everything going on, like the political climate of everything that's changed. We can talk about politics all day, but just seeing the different global things that have been going on, and not really certain what tomorrow will bring, what the next couple of hours will bring. I mean, the last 2 to 3 weeks politically have felt like a couple days. It's like everything, you got, I mean, Donald Trump, I've got a picture of it back here. I've got a funnier picture bound below it, but maybe I'll show you guys that sometime. But Donald Trump was just shot in the air less than 3 weeks ago. And in that time span, you've had, he got shot in the air. Biden steps down. We don't know where Joe Biden is. He steps down. Kamala Harris,
ends up in the hospital and nobody talks about it.
Nobody's talking about that, but we're trying to keep the conspiracies to Charlie Kirk and those guys. But you're right though. There's been stuff like that happened in Vegas. No one talked about it. He's been gone out of the line. Kamala. I don't really care how you pronounce her name, and it's not racist that I don't know how to pronounce her name. She stepped up. She's running now, for president. But also through that time, we've had different random earthquakes. We've had, they've found Russian and Chinese, I think, bomber planes off the coast of Alaska. They've had, just this morning, they had 3 prisoners exchanged, or it may have been 4 prisoners from Russia exchanged for 6 Russian. Did I say 4 presidents? Or did I say 4 citizens? 4 prisoners, yeah. 4. It's off the cuff. We're not cutting it out. 4 prisoners that we ended up exchanging for 6 prisoners that we had from Russia, which turns out that was just a hostage situation. We won't get into all that either, but just different things like that have been going on that have just been really strange.
Well, I think it was Al Qaeda. One of the Al Qaeda leaders was killed yesterday morning.
Yeah, that was another thing. It's every day you wake up, there's something different or something new,
pretty big going on.
Yeah, something big going on that you just don't really know what the next couple of hours are going to hold. I actually saw a video a week and a half ago of Yellowstone, parts of Yellowstone erupting.
Yes.
And I was just dude, what is happening in our world now?
And that was Tuesday because we were headed to New Mexico.
Yes,
we get halfway there and we stop at Chick-fil-A for lunch. And Brad's like, dude, you see what's going on at Yellowstone?
Yeah.
I know what's going on. And he was like, dude, the geysers are blowing up.
Yeah. It's okay, what? It feels okay, and I'm throwing this out there, okay? You guys can take it or leave it. You can be conspiracy theorists. You can call me crazy. I don't really care. It's an election year, and it feels like a COVID election year without the COVID. Because I remember during COVID in 2020, it was one thing after the other then, too. It was we'd had shortages. We had coin shortages. We had different things like that. Obviously during election year, you're a president, so you're wanting to get a bunch of stuff done and a bunch of deals done. So you can win re-election typically. So there was a lot of that. I feel through COVID, I can't even remember some of the stuff that happened, but just random stupid things were happening every single day. Yeah. And you sort of have that same feeling. And it's weird because it's the uncertainty, but also it's just the uncertainty of, what's happening globally. I'm just throwing stuff out there and I'm not trying to scare tactic anybody. I'm just telling you what's been on my mind and what's been on my heart. We're Uncharted here. speaking from the
So we're gonna call this episode.
from the heart, huh?
But we didn't call this episode
Uncharted, yeah, for real. But you think about those things like, dude, anytime now we could be invaded. I mean, the border's been open, pretty. There's been a lot of people come in illegally, and whether you're Democrat or Republican, that's a talking point that I'm going to leave for you to debate about.
Please,
but
not on our page.
Not on our page, yeah. Please, not on our page, because I don't care.
Another something that happened.
Yeah.
I was reading about it like maybe 2 hours ago. I believe it's the state of Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
They started doing an audit, and at this point, they have found 499 undocumented citizens that were registered to vote, and they're going through the process of taking them off the voter rolls. I guess like they were matching them up with the DMV or something, like different things you had to register, and they're finding them.
I think, to me, like, if you look at that, it's really hard to be like, the election's not rigged. And I'm not one of those rigged guys that's just like, Joe Biden's not my president. Like, Joe Biden's my president currently, although he's not even really alive, and I don't think that he's I think that he may be AI, but anyway, I'm teasing. Please don't cancel us here. I'm teasing.
For real though.
Yeah.
Before Joe Biden stepped down.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe a week before, when the whole fight was going on.
Yeah.
What's he going to do? They're trying to push him to go. I told Dad, I said, I'd give him a week and a half and he'll pass away from something crazy.
Yeah.
And
I said that too to somebody.
We got to talking about weird junk.
Yeah.
Just, going political and all that stuff. And then Trump gets shot. And then like 2 days later, they're at a convention and Joe Biden mysteriously ends up in the hospital.
Yeah.
And then nobody's heard from him.
Well,
which it took several days. I know on a Wednesday he did his little speech thing, but it took him like a week to get him back out to talk and stuff. And I'm just like, I told you, Dad, he's gone.
Well, no one's talked to him. I mean, they've had, I think he had a State of the Union address.
It was on a Wednesday.
And then I think that he talked this afternoon about the prisoner swap, So that's like 2 times in the last week and a half to 2 weeks that he's actually spoke, which has been nuts to me. I mean, he's the president of the United States right now. Dude, we could get into so many politics, and I'm going to make a lot of you mad that are my friend. I'm not trying to do that. Kamala is not our answer, by the way. It doesn't matter if she's a woman. Like, I would have voted for Condoleezza Rice, or I would have voted for Sarah Palin, back in 2008. So chill a little bit before you think that I'm sexist or racist. But it is crazy, that stuff. And not to mention, like, the phone call he had with Kamala. I'm going to butcher her name. I'm sorry. I'm going to call her Kamala. But the phone call that he had with her, like, there's been people that have researched that and have said that phone call was actually AI, So, and it obviously,
isn't it conspiracy theory? Isn't it weird that AI suddenly comes out the year?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
And the election year.
And I know, like, your mainstream media is not going to cover that, and none of your big dogs are going to research that or try to figure out what that is. So it doesn't matter, But, like, there are a lot of things like that are going on, and a lot of, like, to me, are really cool. Like, I think AI is incredible, but it's also really scary.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I was watching this, and it's still like an ongoing case about this pastor that's wife had died. And he got up in front of the congregation. He was like, he preached this whole message. And then, like, right after his altar service, he's like, my wife died yesterday. And just like super weird. And then they got record of the 911 call, and it sounded like her, but it was like really calm for someone that was going to like commit suicide. It was just really awkward and weird. And they actually had people that like ran that through some tests, and they discovered it was like a really big percentage that it possibly was AI that did that.
I hadn't heard
suicide
that part.
Call. So there's just like AI is really cool, but it's also really freaky. Like, I'll probably end up using AI to edit this podcast at some point. But it is really strange. Our titles and our descriptions sometimes, like AI tries to generate those, and I've got to be like, no, you're not doing that, AI. But all the things that are going on in the world, it is really, it gets me thinking. It's like, man, like every day literally is a gift from God.
Yep.
Every moment that I'm here free to do whatever I want. And where am I taking that? Like, what am I doing with that time? Am I spending enough time with my kids, or am I just doing things, work or working around the house, or, doing odd end jobs, or doing things that, it's not that I want to be procrastinating or lazy, but it's like, I would much rather connect with my kids and my wife and be close to them than just, kill myself working and then come to find out, hey, we're not going to be alive next month, kind of thing. That's really harsh. I feel like we will be, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. The time with kids thing has been a huge question in my mind lately, especially on being on the self-employed side of things. I'm trying to build a business. I'm trying to be successful. And, there have been times this last year or so where I'm gone 14, 16, 18 hours in the day. When I get up before they're awake, and when I get home, they're in bed.
Right.
And you talk about laying in bed, asking a bunch of questions. When that question there is, man, are you sure?
Yeah.
And I've been guilty of it. I find myself, I'll have a Saturday off, or, be a slow week or whatever. And my kids will come running there. Dad, can we go swimming? Or let's go to the zoo, or let's go to the, the swim park or whatever. And I'm like, man, I just don't feel like it. I'm tired or blah. And I'm telling you, the moment they walk out the door, and the door closes and I'm all alone, it's like, oh, that was a horrible idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've asked myself, I'm not saying I do it every time still, there's still times where things come up or things happen, but I'm just like, man, I've got to, because there's things going on that's crazy. I read, and some of you all may know this, but there's a Coco Melon. It's a kid's show.
Mm-hmm.
And it used to be just a bunch of nursery rhymes and things like that. And I watched one of their videos yesterday, I think it was. And there's two men standing there singing a song back and forth. And it was something to the effect of, you can be who you want to be. Just think about it and pick one.
Yeah.
And there's a young boy that's standing there looking at a crown and the little blue, green, red hats with the little spinner on top of it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And the boy's standing there trying to make a decision if he's going to pick the little crown up. And it's not a king's crown. It's like the hair barrette kind with it. And comes out dancing in a dress or a tutu, whatever you want to call it. And I was like, man.
Yeah.
How many times have I, as a parent, has been like, my kids watch some. I'll say it. I'm not ashamed to say it. We try to monitor it. We try to watch it. If they want to buy a new movie, we'll go look at it. A lot of times Jay and I will watch it before, or one of us will watch it before we let them even. But when I saw that video, like, how many times have I been too tired or too busy, and I just said, hey, you can go watch something right now.
Yeah.
Give me 30 minutes, go watch something.
Yeah.
Has that video popped up in front of them?
Right.
And for all you people, side note here, I'm going to get on this. Oh, boy. No, we're just going to go with it. It is stupid for you not to have a TV in your house, or tell your kids you don't believe in TV, but you'll let them watch YouTube.
Yeah.
Or you don't believe in watching movies, but you'll spend 3 hours watching movies or watching the latest hunting video on YouTube or whatever. That is stupid.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Ran over. Go ahead.
It's kind of crazy. Like, and I agree with that. It is stupid, by the way. I'll back you up on that. What's kind of crazy is the things that we have been, like me and your generation, that we have been desensitized to. I'm going to mispronounce that. Desensitized to, when it comes to different types of media,
Yeah.
And I get it. Some of you can listen to something and if there's a curse word in it, you just turn it off. But like, I grew up watching stuff, like nothing bad, but like, I grew up around people, not family members, but like I've known people that have cussed my whole life. Like I don't cuss.
Yeah.
But when they do, it's like in one ear out the other. Like I just don't think about it. But the other crazy thing is I was thinking about like our cartoons, like that I had growing up. I know you probably didn't. I don't know if you like watched a lot of like Nickelodeon and Disney and stuff like that growing up or not, but like some of the cartoons that I grew up watching, looking back as an adult, were actually very, very is a strong word, but there were several like sexual innuendos in them, and they're very sexual innuendos, and a lot of it was hidden, and you don't realize it until you watch the same thing as an adult. Cause like even shows that I've seen before and I'm like, oh, I approve that. No problem. I'll go and I'll like, yeah, you can watch that. And then I'll be sitting there with them and I'm like, I've seen this thing like hundreds of times. I grew up
and
watching
I don't remember that theme.
Like I think Rocco's Modern Life or Doug. I don't know if you remember Doug at all.
Cat Dog.
Like those, even SpongeBob, like some of SpongeBob a little bit, but it's weird how that used to be sort of adult friendly to where like as an adult you can watch it and your kids aren't going to understand it, because I didn't know what I was watching growing up. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think that it really like hurt me. I don't know. Maybe it did hurt me mentally. I don't think that it did. But what's crazy is like now everything is sort of, it's almost as if it's kicked it up a notch.
Yeah.
Where it's not like they're talking about sex per se, but they are sort of pushing, the word is agenda, but they are sort of pushing the agenda of like, you can be whatever you want to be, your body's changing and you can accept that, even though you were born with male appendages, you can be a woman, and it's such a weird place for our kids.
Honestly, I believe some of that though is because we have been desensitized.
Right. Well, that may be true. That's why I thought about that.
Because, we were on, say, level 1 and they've done it so much that we don't even think about it anymore. And you talked about the cuss words, going in your one out the other, in one ear and out the other. I can't even say that. I'm that way in the world now. But if my child hears it, I want them to understand, hey, that's not something. I had that happen. You want to see a reality check? I was watching a reel on Facebook. This has been a few years ago. On a pretty popular show at the time. And they said a phrase.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to repeat it, but they said a phrase that it wasn't blasphemous or anything, but there was a cuss word in it. It was a 3-word phrase.
Say it. I'm sure.
No. And I thought, I'm just watching. I'm like, oh, okay, keep going. And my son was sitting right beside me. And guess which phrase he repeated?
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
Now I have to explain to my boy, we don't say that.
Yeah.
And if he's anything like me, well, you're watching a show that has it. Why can't I say it?
Right.
Listen, I don't care if you watch TV.
Yeah.
Personal opinion. I don't care if you watch YouTube. I don't care if you watch hunting videos. I do care if you're wasting time.
Sure.
Because I can point I can take you in the Bible and show you where wasting time is wrong.
Yeah.
What are you setting before your eyes? What show are you watching? Are you watching the what was it growing up? Was it I think it was the Spike channel is what it was. It was Spike, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what it is now, like Paramount or something like that now, maybe.
I have no idea. I don't have any satellite anything, but
Anyway.
You know, growing up, if you're watching when we were growing up, it was Spike. And it's like, are you watching Spike or are you watching the family friendly what was that Tim Allen show? Home Improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's what are you putting before you?
Well, even Home Improvement, like I've watched some of those episodes now as an adult. And I'm like, whoa, like my parents let me watch this.
Really?
And no offense to my parents by any means, because I still watch it, and like there are episodes I still let my kids watch. But even some of those, like your family friendly shows that you thought of and you think about now, and you're like, man, those are good, good things.
That's exactly what I was doing there.
Well, to be honest with you, like one of the most cleanest shows ever was the Cosby Show, and we all know how Bill Cosby turned out. So it's just like it's so terrible, Like it's a joke. Obviously, it is not a joke. It's just a funny coincidence.
What was the?
He had one of the cleanest shows out there, and it was like,
what was the show? Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers is really good. Yeah,
great show.
Great show. He was really cool. Or what's the other? Bob Ross. Someone called Bob Ross the painter guy, and Mr. Rogers one of the Trinity in entertainment, but I can't remember who the third guy was, and I thought it was really clever. I was like, yeah, that's kind of an interesting way to put it. But
needless to say, it's what you're putting before you, because that's biblical.
Yeah, it is, and you think about like going back to our kids, that conversation. It's just like, what are my kids going to have to put up with when they reach my age? What are they going to have to face? What are they going to have to battle?
If in the last 20, 30 years we have went from that to this,
I know.
What's the next 20 years going to look like?
Yeah. To me, what it looks like free speech is banned.
Yeah.
To me, it looks like freedom of religion is banned. To me, it looks like freedom or the Second Amendment is banned. All these things that I think of, and you can say, whatever you want. Well, that'll never happen. But little by little, I can't remember what podcast it is, but they do episodes of, like, they look at like the 1900s till now, and how throughout each decade there's been something that's pushed the envelope little by little by little until now you have different laws in place, or
you're desensitized to it,
and you're desensitized to it. Uncharted and desensitized. That's what we're going to call this episode. And I think, if you're a parent, something that is great about this is that you can take that moment of not knowing what the future holds, and you can start teaching your children now. The worst thing that you can do is wait until they reach that point, like where we're at now, to try to teach them or train them. But it's like, how do I combat homosexuality? How do I combat those who, believe abortion is okay? How do I combat those who believe that communism is fine, or that everyone should be given the same outcome no matter how hard they work? How do I combat that? So it's like, I'm learning how to train them now to have those values, to think for themselves. I know some of you are going to listen to this and not believe this. I don't know how many times I have to say it. I don't care. But trying to teach my kids to think for themselves, to learn for themselves, and to study the Bible for themselves, I think is huge, and be able to combat that to where when they do get older, no matter what, no matter if it's against the law to speak this way, that they'll still do it, because that's what God wants and what he says,
Yep. Absolutely. No, it's so important to think about those kind of things. definitely been on my mind here a lot lately too. I want my kids to be all they can, be the best Christian they can be above all.
Yeah.
And it when you see things going on and happening, and it definitely makes you think.
Yeah.
I've thought about this over the last couple of years. I'm 32 now. How many times is somebody when I was growing up make statements like, have fun while you're young, or,
Yeah.
Get it while you still can, or, just different things like that where they didn't mean anything, or time flies the older you get. And as a kid, I was like, yeah, whatever. It's still 24 hours. I got an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and I think she's almost 10 months now, 10-month-old.
That's crazy, though. Actually, that part's crazy.
Yeah.
That's flying by.
Yeah. And I'm like, what happened to this summer, dude?
Yeah.
But I want what's best for my kids in every way, and that's why I'm working as hard as I am. But I got to be careful not to neglect that for Christ and his glory, his kingdom.
Yeah.
We weren't called here. Some of you guys are going to take this wrong, and oh well. But we weren't called to this earth to be rich.
Right.
We weren't.
Yeah.
Do I want to be successful? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Do I want my kids to be successful? Absolutely. Do I want them to be well off? 100%. But at what cost?
Yeah.
And that's, again, that's something I've had to take a long, hard look at lately.
And how do you measure success too is big. A lot of us are like, we think money, and I think that it's an aspect of it, but it's like, to me, success is, knowing my kids are saved. Like, that's a success. Knowing that they have, my wife actually, she was crying the other day, and I was like, why are you crying? She's just like, because I wish that I had the same relationship with my dad that you have with your kids. And it made me sad for her, but it was really, that's success. That's something that's like, man, I think about the world, and there's a lot of families and kids that don't have parents. They've got like 13 parents, and they're going back and forth at homes. And, if you've done that, I'm not bashing that, but like, those are successes to me. Like, knowing I can be there for my kids,
Yeah.
Those are successes.
My son in New Mexico. This is part of what's made me think about. We're in New Mexico at that meeting up in the mountains, and my son is crying. Now, my son, he's the 6-year-old. For most of his life, he's been kind of the tender-hearted, the softer of my kids. I think he broke his finger in New Mexico, and he keeps telling me it's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with it. He's starting to toughen up a little bit. But I saw him crying during church, and he was sitting back on the couch. There was a couch on the side for moms that need to, get their kids off the metal chairs or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was up towards the front, so I signaled at him. I was like, come here, bub. So he walks up there, and I put my arm around him. I said, what's the matter? And he said, nothing. I said, no, you're crying, buddy. What's wrong? And he said, I'm not really sure. And I said, are you sad? He said, no, I'm not. And I said, I think I know what that is, buddy. I said, I think it's Jesus.
Yeah.
I think you're feeling the Spirit.
Right.
And he said, maybe because I'm crying and I'm happy. Bro, when he said that,
yeah,
I was like, That's exactly what that is, boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, I was overwhelmed when he said, maybe because I'm crying, but I'm happy.
Yeah.
And
That's awesome.
that, man, that's success. And that's
Yeah.
because it's connecting to him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And dude, I'm getting all
Emotional.
excited over again. But I want my kids to have that.
Right.
I want them to be successful in all aspects. My father-in-law, most of we lost him last September. Drove probably one of the most, and if anybody knew, his name was Glenn Jett. If anybody knew him, knew that he was one of the greatest men on earth. And I'm not saying that just because he was my father-in-law. You can ask around. My mother-in-law, since he passed, got cards and letters where he would go fix leaks in widows' houses and not charge them a dime for it. Youth camp came around and they needed something done. Glenn Jett was there.
Yeah.
I mean, just one of the greatest men I ever knew. Had several rent houses, but that was his goal in life. He wanted to retire with rent houses to where if he didn't want to work, he didn't have to. And he spent the last several months, wasn't enough, but spent the last several months of his life just traveling around, visiting family and friends and stuff. But when he passed away out in the field, loading up cattle to take them to the sale. But the truck that he was hooked up to was I think it was a 96 Chevy Cheyenne long bed pickup that a tree had fallen over and landed on the hood of his truck. The hood of his truck was curled up. I mean, we still have it. It's kind of the farm truck now. It's just a beat up looking ass piece of junk. Like, if you asked me if I would buy it from you, I wouldn't give you $500 for this truck. Honestly, I wouldn't.
Right.
It's got over 300,000 miles. It's 2-wheel drive. He never would buy a 4-wheel drive truck because it was a waste of money. I mean, just simple, man. With this 3-tone painted trailer with the floor falling in, like there was one hole in the trailer, and he would be like, "Well, they better not step in the hole because they're going to get road rash."
Yeah.
Like, it's just one of the plainest men I ever knew. But if you talk to him about wealth, like worldly riches, it didn't matter to him.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't think he realized the wealth that he had.
Millions.
He didn't have a lot of money. I mean, if you wanted cash money, he was okay. But he didn't have just thousands and thousands and, hundreds of thousands or whatever sitting in the bank.
Yeah.
He had assets laying around. But we lived a half mile from him. His oldest lives, a few miles from him. He's got kids in New Mexico and Arkansas and Missouri, I think. But they're all spread out, but every single one of them loves him. Every single one of them, whether I agree with them or not, they all go to church, though.
Yeah.
They're all trying to have some kind of, I mean, that is a successful life.
Yeah. Absolutely.
If we'd have figured it out, it wouldn't have surprised me if they said he was worth over $500,000, $750,000. I mean, because he had a lot of assets.
Yeah.
But he didn't realize it. Worked. I mean, he passed away loading cattle up to take them to the sale. Literally worked till the day he died.
Yeah.
Just spending his time on earth. But he also took time for everybody. I'm rambling now.
No, you're not. No, I mean, I think that's kind of what we're talking about here is, you think about the success. I mean, wealth and success have sort of changed, I think, in our generation. I mean, what we perceive as wealth and success, I guess. Worldly wealth and success are completely different than what we're talking about here. Especially in the church world, If you think about, like, nowadays, there's not a lot of people that would do that, that would just be like going and helping a widow for no charge, or doing something just out of the goodness of your heart, or tipping the waitress or waiter really well. But, success. And I think that's something, we're going to close this episode. I think we're like an hour in. We could talk forever. Someday we will do like a 3-hour episode.
We're going to go to B-dubs and keep talking about all this stuff.
Keep talking. But, if anything you get out of this podcast, we're obviously, like I said, shooting the breeze, talking about just random stuff. But if anything you get out of this podcast, it's like train your children, give your children answers to the why, I guess is a better way to put that. And figure out how to teach them what true success looks like and what true wealth looks like, because there's going to be a time where they're probably not going to have a lot of money, but can they be content? There's a lot of people out there that are struggling right now, and they're not content because they depend on money to bring them wealth and success. But I think if you try to train your generation or the next generation of kids, your kids, to have a different viewpoint of what wealth really is, I think that you'll change the world and change their world in the future. So, wanted to thank everybody for listening. Thank you for joining us again. Uncharted, I don't know if we'll call it that, but it's definitely something we want to do more often. Leave us a comment, leave us a question if you have to, but leave us feedback if you like this episode. You want to see us do more. If you want to see us have guests on the podcast that are a little bit more laid back like this as well, we'd love to do that too. But we appreciate those who have listened, shared.
I want the Holy One guy.
Yeah.
The
Holy Nope guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
The Holy Nope.
Maybe we'll have him in our seat someday. We'd love to. And if you have someone that you want to suggest.
Today's a good day to nope.
Nope. Yeah. And if you want to have someone on our podcast that you feel would be, you'd like to listen to, let us know. We'd love to have them. Of course, you can find us on the podcast platform of your choice by searching at Podcast for Him on social media, or The Everyday Christian Podcast. That's The Every and Day are separate, Brother Sean. Again, those virtual
I got a brother. I got brother Sean.
Got Brother Sean to end the podcast episode, just to nip it in the bud there. But anyway, we want to thank you all for joining us, and we want to God bless you.
God bless.